what's going on, everyone? It is Chris, and welcome back to once again another episode of the Survivor Podcast with my good friend Gocubs 711.
In a surprising turn of events, the Cleveland Browns have acquired all 32 first-round draft picks.
Relevant, I love it.
And still don't have a franchise quarterback.
They drafted 4 first-round quarterbacks, and none of them are working out.
No, they didn't draft any quarterbacks.
Ah, okay. They drafted all kickers.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Cleveland. All right, welcome back to the Survivor Podcast, everyone. I don't really know how to explain this episode. After like 2 pretty dramatic episodes, you would think the merge would be like the cream, the what do they call it, the cream de crop, whatever the fuck it's called. Whatever. It seemed like it was gonna reach this like massive like tipping point, and it just wasn't that. So let's get into it. And we'll start with the aftermath of the Zeke outing, I guess you could call it. Basically Ty and Sarah had like a discussion. Ty was saying how he felt like it was wrong for Varner to do that, but I also wanted to. But he was saying how he wanted to still show some sympathy for Varner because he didn't want him, because he clearly saw that Varner was like upset, and so Sarah was just kind of like, no, I'm still mad at him. That was just my personal choice not to give him any sympathy at all. And then you heard Sarah talking about the same thing that she talked about with Trial, about being being in a conservative area, and never meeting anyone in the LGBT community, and so on and so forth. And then Zeke kind of talked in his confessional a little bit more about how he's grown and how this possibly will help people, help anyone that is transgender. That maybe this could be a way of reaching out to them in a way as well. But he also said that he wants to get back to the game. We have a game to play, and that is correct. And what a turn of events we get into, because the next thing we know, it's merge time, baby. And they all meet at the beach, and there's a big feast table laid out, and Probst just says, he starts with asking them questions like, what's coming. But then Ozzy says, like, yeah, we see what's over there, we see what's coming, but we also want to see what's under that cloth. And there's a cloth, like a table that's sitting there. What is under that table, my friend?
Some crackers and some iced tea.
Yeah, and what's funny? That never came into play at all. Like they were supposed to give it to. Well, we'll talk about what exactly he was referring to with that table.
Well, yeah, there's a reason why it didn't come into play.
What happened?
Well, all right, so so they obviously announced that they were merged.
Yes.
And he said that they could only have that huge feast if one person on each tribe, each current tribe, volunteered to sit out of the feast. Correct. If no one volunteered to sit out, then they would get the crackers and the iced tea.
Oh, okay. I didn't get that. I thought it was the people that did not want to eat that had to eat that stuff. But no. I mean, I guess that makes a lot more sense than.
Yeah.
Okay.
If no one volunteered, then they would each get a single cracker with cheese on it, plus a swig of iced tea.
That's actually really funny. Funny imagery. Yeah. Well, we did end up getting 2 volunteers. First was Brad Culpepper, the guy that has turned very likable in a surprising way.
Surprisingly.
And I think he probably just learned a lot from his first experience. But he was like, yeah, I'll do it. And then he said that's what Monica would do. So I just picture the hashtag Brad has a wife. Because that almost comes up every single episode, it seems.
Yeah. Yeah, fair.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, she's a famous survivor. She's gone far before Monica. But you know, it's just funny because it just keeps on coming up. Um, and then Ty on the other tribe said that he would sit out as well. And that's not surprising. Ty is probably the most selfless person out there,
Yeah.
maybe even to a fault when it comes to playing Survivor. Um, but he and Brad end up having to go like behind the bushes and sit while everyone else gets to enjoy their feast, and they actually talk a little bit of strategy, because Ty wants Brad to be his Caleb, um, and and Brad wants to work with Ty, and he actually specifically began to say like I think that who we should target first out of the gate is Michaela and Haley. And when I heard that, I was just like, all right, I kind of see why Brad would want to get rid of them, but I don't know if that's in the best interest of Ty. Well, maybe not. Actually, I don't know because Ty's a physical competitor as well, but you would want to get out the biggest threats first.
Right.
I would think the people that are like kick ass in challenges win immunity constantly. But with someone like Brad, and I guess you could throw Ty in there as well, that maybe it is better to get out the people that aren't as much competition, and then you keep the threats in front of you, so people take out the other threats first before they get to you. That's how I thought. That's the thinking that I started to go through because I was just like, all right, there's various ways to look at it. Um, but also, let's talk about Debbie. Because at this merge dinner, she had a little fun.
All right. Here's the thing.
I just like you before you even start talking. You're like, oh, here's the thing, guys. It's just like
Okay.
your muffled voice, absolute, just
Yeah.
not wanting to talk about it.
Here's the thing. Debbie is insane. And earlier earlier in the season, like a few weeks ago even, I talked about how fucking dumb she was to about like the criticism of the challenge and how annoying she was being towards Brad about like like bossing the tribe around or what the fuck ever. But now I think she's still fucking insane, but trying to use it to her advantage by
Right.
making people, and she kind of said this in her conventional, but like making people think that she's like not a threat because of how like she put it quirky. I'm gonna stick with batshit crazy. Um,
I think that's accurate.
yeah, like she didn't drink at all, but made everyone think that she was drunk.
Yeah. Do you think that she was just saying that, or did? Because there's a small part of me that was like, maybe she did get tipsy, and she's just saying that was
No,
strategy.
I don't think I don't think she had anything. I think that was total.
That was her strategy. Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, her
Yeah.
trying to do strategy.
No, yeah, I agree with you. I think that there was a part of me that was just like, are you sure, Debbie? Are you sure your eyes aren't kind of wandering a little bit? But yeah, no,
Nah,
but and she had a little friendly time with Ty as well. Um, when she uh mooed him. Uh,
yep.
that's the thing that happened. Um,
I don't want to see that. Same time.
yes, hashtag same. No, yeah, Ty. I hope that you go for a long swim and just cleanse the eyes. Probably
Yeah.
after that. But no, yeah, yeah. I think that it's an interesting strategy there. We actually get back to camp, and she actually right out of the gate says, I'm sorry for the way I acted to Brad. And they hug and forgive each other, and that's pretty interesting. And she's now starting to follow a little bit of what Cochrane, a little advice that he gave her there. So that's how the Exile Island advantage has now worked in her favor, in that sense. Um,
Mm.
but the So yeah, that was. I'm pretty sure it seems like she wants to work with him for now, but we'll see what happens with that. Uh, Really, the summary prior to the immunity challenge is basically the majority, if not pretty much every single person on the tribe wanting to get Michaela out. Um,
Yes.
I don't, I don't personally understand that strategy. Um, I mean, I get that maybe she's definitely a strong player, and maybe she's a little disruptive in camp, but I not really. I mean, like it's just like this whole notion behind why they want to get her out. It's just I don't know. I guess what I think is probably that the people that are participating in this season probably don't know who Michaela is from the season that she was just on, Millennial versus Gen X, because
Yeah.
that literally filmed like a month later. So that's probably why they want to get her out, because they probably know the least about her. Um, Although it's weird that they're wanting to get rid of her and not Zeke, but who knows?
Yeah. I mean, the way that I see Michaela, and I don't hate Michaela, but it just seems that like based on what I've seen from her, like she doesn't start playing game until, and this could just be how they've edited things, but I haven't seen Michaela play any game this season until she hears that she might be going home.
Right, right,
Which is
and
which is like not a bad thing because like well the first time she kind of saved herself, or first couple times really,
right.
but like she just doesn't do anything until she feels like she's in danger, and then she like gets all freaked out and like almost has a panic attack. I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah, I the way. Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. When we saw her last season, she got eliminated right before the merge, for playing too hard, uh, and almost revealing her cards, how smart she was in terms of trying to figure out a plan to get out people. She ended up being eliminated. After I forget who it was, but after someone saw her using like the shells and like organizing them and saying like
Yeah.
this is on the people on one side, here's the people on the other. We have to probably get this person and like all that. And so that was probably maybe a wake up call for her. Maybe not to like not overplay it, but maybe
Right.
she's taking it as a maybe not play at all, and let's just see what happens, and so that way I don't get in trouble. So I don't know. Is it gonna end up working out for her? We'll have to see. But let's just see how this plays out. So we have everyone basically. It started with Brad. Brad went to Ozzy and Troyzan. They all talked about it. Then they went to Sierra, and Sierra told other people, and other people told other people, and so on and so forth, until everyone pretty much knew that that was the case. Sari, Andrea, Sarah, and Zeke, though, they have like a alliance going on, and they want Michaela to stay because they feel like she could be a number for them, to get out maybe a bigger threat. Um, and so I don't really know what ends up leading to this, but I believe it's at this point that Haley Haley is one of the people that finds out that Michaela is going to be the target, and I think Haley ends up going to Michaela and saying, "I've heard your name once already," and I
Yes.
think that's when Michaela kind of gets antsy and starts like kind of freaking out. But Suri kind of takes her under her wing and just kind of like just gives her advice. They kind of have this walk down the beach, and they just talk a little bit, and Suri is just kind of like don't get too high strung, like just you have to find a way to relax. And then other bits of advice that I'm not going to be able to recall right now, but essentially they have formed a little bit of a bond. So that's going to be foreshadowing into into the tribal council, into post immunity. Um,
Yep.
so by the way, the tribe name is Maku Maku.
Which is like a combination of Mana and Nuku.
Yeah,
Just said.
Yeah. Actually, I did not even think about that, but there you go.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess because they had, I guess Nuna did not sound that good. I
yeah,
I don't know.
Michael
Uh,
Mucker.
eh,
I like it.
yeah, no, I do too. Let's get to the immunity challenge now. What was the immunity challenge, Go Cubs?
You'll have to jog my memory.
They had to balance on a.
Oh,
They
yeah,
had to
okay.
balance themselves.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I just remembered.
Yeah.
So they had to stand on a board and on their tippy toes hold like a small little. I don't want to say post because post implies something really big, but like a circular piece of wood, cylindrical, uh, to like another board above them. And they couldn't touch the sides. They couldn't let it fall, and it was just whoever lasted the longest.
Yeah, and it was a close race. It came down to Ty and Andrea, and Andrea ended up becoming the champion. Who saw that coming?
Yeah,
Uh,
I
and,
believe the first woman to win that challenge. It's been done before,
yeah, you
at
got.
least at least two or three times.
Yeah, I believe. I think that Probst actually said that. Forgot
Yeah,
that was part of it. Yeah, so yeah, she wins. So she's safe. And now let's see what happens in this next half because they're gonna try her and her alliance are gonna try to save Michaela now. So Sierra proposes splitting the vote between Haley and Michaela because they think that Haley may have an immunity idol. Now, where is this logic coming from? I have no idea. I don't know why they think that Haley has an idol and why they think Haley is the one that has the idol and not Michaela. Like the whole thing is just confusing to me. Um, but they're gonna split the votes and have more votes for Michaela than Haley, ultimately. Um, so what Haley and Michaela are told is that Zeke should be the one voted out because he has the best story. And then Cerie's obviously not a fan of this, so she goes to Zeke, says, "Why not get out Haley over Michaela? Why do we have to? Why do we trust Haley over Michaela? Let's go after Haley." And
yeah,
so Zeke goes up to Sierra and asks her about it, saying that we should do that. And Sierra just kind of blows him off, just being like, "Yeah, no, we can stay on Michaela. We can vote Michaela out." So he goes away, and Sarah's just kind of like, "What's his problem?" And then that's the scene that we saw in the previews that and Debbie says like, "Oh, he wants to be in charge," and she's like, "Well, there's a new sheriff in town." Gun points up in the air, looking cool. Not so. And then
gave the episode title.
there you go. Yeah, right. That's the plug. I like it's kind of like the signature movie trope where you must work in the title somewhere in your movie. So
Well, yeah.
that's essentially what.
Well, it's yeah, it's like the opposite. Like they take the title based on something someone said in the episode.
Yeah, there you go. Um, so then there's kind of like this. Not really a lot of context, but essentially Sierra then or Suri rather. I apologize. Suri then just tells Michaela to vote Zeke and to trust her. And that's really all we see. So then we go to tribal, and not really anything happens that's like a big deal. I mean, uh, they Haley just at one point just tries to make it clear that she will agree to a search of any kind to find an idol on her if someone asks. But no one ends up doing so. Uh, but again, not really other build up towards it. So then go to vote, and we end up with it's one vote Haley, one vote Michaela, Haley, Michaela, Haley, Michaela, Haley, Michaela, and then uh, two more votes for Haley, or three more votes or whatever. Um, and Haley is voted out of the off the island and becomes the first member of the jury. So what the fuck just happened? Because I'm
Good,
like,
good,
okay, so
good point.
it should be pointed out too. The people who voted out Michaela were Andrea, Sari. Hold on, I have to get the numbers. It's Sari, Andrea, Sarah, and Zeke. They all voted out Michaela. Now,
Yes.
that was the group that wanted to save Michaela, and everyone else voted for Haley. So I guess behind the scenes they were able to flip everyone else against Haley, and then the other four voted out
It,
Michaela, and
it just happened to be the votes that were going to vote Michaela.
yeah, I just I don't know. It's just I don't. I'm just kind of confused at how they really came to that because I feel like there was just needed more context there to kind of
Yeah.
more clearly explain to us that was that like at least say like at least show us Sari or Zeke or whoever going up to that other side, just be like, hey, the majority of you guys should vote for Haley, and if she plays the aisle, then Michaela will go home. They didn't really show that. They just kind of just said the last thing they showed was Sari just going to Michaela, vote out Zeke, and that was it. So I don't know. Really, just lack of context there for this episode. But we get a double dose of the Survivor goodness, and we go into a second hour of the show. Post tribal, we have Michaela and Sari vowing to stick together, to be an alliance. And talk begins to stir about maybe getting out Sierra and Brad. I believe as one person talks about it, I forget who, I think it was Andrea, that Sierra is the godfather, and Brad is is like the henchman for the
The
godfather,
hitman.
the hitman
Yeah.
for the godfather.
What's like the second in command in town of Salem?
Mafioso.
Mafia. So that's Brad.
There you go. So oh my god, we need to play that again. It's probably
Yeah.
hell. Um, but
Probably really bad. No.
yeah, probably really bad. But yeah, so we have this kind of discussion happening, and Andrew brings Zeke over, proposes this plan to him, and then we go to Zeke's confessional. He's just like, I want to get out Sari and Andrea. What? And apparently his logic is that he feels that Sari and Andrea are the ones that are doing a lot of the manipulation right now, a lot of the conspiring, and that he wants to make a move, and get them out. And I'm like, what? I don't get it, because they're like your friends. They're in your alliance. I don't think that you could just easily flip over to the other side, because I don't know if they're going to necessarily welcome you. That's at least what
Yeah.
goes through my mind when that happened, and I was yeah, it was just a very confusing moment. Um, but we get to the reward challenge, and it's a two-team challenge. Uh, oh, man, I'm not even gonna remember what it involved. Just more like swimming in the water,
No.
gathering
They got
puzzles.
to swim in the water, grab some nets, bring the nets back all full of fish, bring the fish to the beach, take out all of the fish from the nets, uh, uh, take the fish on a pole up to a puzzle place where they then solve a puzzle. And I need to like go into a little bit more depth because this was like fucking insane. I
Okay.
forget who all exactly was on each team. Uh,
Oh, I have to write that down. I completely forgot about that too.
yeah,
Uh, I'll look it up
but
while you talk.
I can generally say who was there.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was the blue and the orange team. The blue team got out, or the orange team got out to a very early lead, but then realized that they left one of their fish back where they got the net. So I think it was Sarah had to swim back and get the fish while Brad just pulled the really heavy net by himself, which gave the blue team a chance to catch up and take the lead. They got into the beach. They started untying the net for the fish, and the blue team takes their fish up, but then realizes that they forgot a fish inside the net.
All right, hold that thought. The red team is Sarah, Brad, Aubrey, Michaela, Sierra, and Sari. The blue team is Andrea, Ty, Ozzy, Troyzan, Debbie, and Zeke. Go ahead.
Okay. So Ty like starts freaking out. I forget who Ty is with.
Blue
I
team.
think it's Sierra. I think it's Sierra.
Yeah. Wait, no, Andrea. He's with Andrea.
Andrea. Okay. So like Ty's not sure what to do. He tries to go back and just get the regular fish, but he has to. They have to take the whole pole with all the fish back, untie it, get the fish out, and then take it back. By this point, the red team has such a huge lead. However, the puzzle solving doesn't go very well. Well, it goes well for the orange team at first, but then not so great. And the blue team comes back and wins the challenge in like a buzzer beater.
Yeah, Zeke and Debbie, I believe, were the ones doing the puzzle there.
Yeah.
Sari and someone else, I forget who, was doing the puzzle for the orange side. Or the red, I guess. I don't know what the colors were, but
Jeff said orange for that. So
yes. So yeah, they got the reward that they got was a spa day. Sponsored by Marshalls. Marshalls, get close here. So then you... That's like... just imagine people are just blunt like that. You know, like Burger King. You could eat food here. You know.
Or not.
Or not. I mean, it's maybe processed. So, yeah, we got... so, like, after the reward challenge... 3 main things happened, and nothing to get big detail for. Suri was upset for losing the challenge. She felt it was her fault, and she kind of explained it, and like as if she had to care for children, for her own children, and she did not do what was necessary to care for them. And that was kind of like the analogy that was going on in her head and making her cry, be upset about losing the challenge. Meanwhile, Ty is streaking at the spa. So I guess Ty was inspired by Debbie's butt to go ahead and just whip all the clothes off.
Yep.
And speaking of Debbie, the last tidbit here for the reward challenge is that she and Zeke had a discussion. I think Zeke was also talking to someone else on that tribe, or on that reward challenge, and he was proposing the idea of getting out Andrea and Sari, and Debbie says that she's not going to trust Zeke. There's no reason to trust Zeke. You know, he's just, no, we're not, that you cannot trust a single thing that he says. And I'm going to make my own choices, essentially. So after that, we get the immunity. And what is the immunity, Gocubs?
The immunity is you hug onto a giant pole and try not to fall off.
Yeah, that's really the basics of it. Yeah, it's people drop just like in the first challenge. People drop pretty quickly. And
that's how most endurance challenges go, though.
Yeah, and it comes down to Andrea again, Ty, and Ozzy. Now, Ozzy, he is undefeated with this challenge. He has. Yes. He's how many times did he win it?
Twice before this.
Twice.
And was the only person to win it.
Only person to win it. All right. Wait. Oh no. I thought that there. Oh, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm thinking. Maybe I'm thinking back to Ozzy season. But I thought that the challenge just popped up before this one that was recent. But that's okay. Okay. So then Andrea ends up falling off. And it's down to Ozzy and Ty, and Ty is comfortable up there. Ozzy kind of starts flinching, then Ty kind of starts flinching, but it ends up being Ozzy falling off the pole, giving up his champion belt of pole hugging,
yes,
and giving it to Ty, and Ty ends up winning immunity. Which is big for him, and it was at this moment that I remembered. Oh yeah, he has 2 idols in his pocket. Ty's a juggernaut, man.
Yeah.
So yeah. So then we get back from tribal, and Zeke is starting in again. Now he's actually talking to Sierra, and he says that Andrea is gonna try to target you, and you need to try to get her out. Well, that doesn't really work out for Zeke, as
Nope.
Sierra then goes to Andrea, S3E, and Ozzy and says, actually, no, I think it was Sierra and told S3E, and then S3E went to Andrea and Ozzy, and basically, the news of Zeke telling Sierra that Andrea is going after Sierra would spread like wildfire, and everyone wanted to get out Zeke, and Zeke had no idea, and he was pretty much put on the outs immediately for this decision that he made, and I sensed it coming from a mile away, and I felt terrible for him, but he made a bad move to go after your friends, and now he doesn't have any, unfortunately. Um, at least for now. But so it looks like this is gonna be all right. So Zeke's gonna go home. It seems pretty obvious. But then Debbie and Sierra are slaying in the hammock, and they're like, "How about we go after Ozzy?" Now this kind of comes out of nowhere, but they're like, "What? We want to make a big splash? Let's get out Ozzy."
Yeah.
And then they kind of start talking to some people, and they maybe start riling up the troops, and then before you know it, we're at tribal, and it's a battle between my winner and Gocubs' winner. And I didn't even realize until we started the call that was actually the case. But there you go. Um, the Essentially at tribal, nothing extreme happens, but just underlying messages like Sarik says, like I'm gonna vote. I'm gonna keep the people around that I trust the most, and obviously throwing a little shade at Zeke.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, nothing too extreme in the discussion points that I remember. Do you remember anything that from Tribal that's worth noting, or just it's not really?
Not really.
Yeah, it wasn't that big of a tribal. Then they get to the votes, um, and and Probst begins to go ahead and walk, but Debbie stops Probst. Or I could just call him Jeff now because Varner is no longer there.
Yeah.
But and Debbie stops him, and she says, "I am going to use my I guess my advantage." And Jeff is like, "What is your advantage?" Debbie says, "I have an extra vote." So this is the extra vote that she got from Exile Island. So she uses the extra vote, maybe hoping to really slam the door on a possible Ozzy elimination. And it ends up working. Ozzy is voted out, and Go Cubs has to pick a new winner. But I gotta say, and by the way, uh, Zeke did not vote for I did not vote for Ozzy. He voted for Andrea, I
He
believe.
voted for Aubrey.
Oh, for Aubrey. And I think who did Suri vote for?
I don't remember.
Suri voted for someone different as well. It was weird. I think it was Andrea. I think Suri voted for Andrea just to spite
Yeah,
face
there were a
him.
lot of votes in that.
Yeah, but yeah, it ended up being Ozzy that ended up going home, and I gotta say, I'm okay with this decision because he is a threat. He's gonna be a powerhouse in the game, and if you get him out, that's one less person that's gonna be a force in terms of winning challenges. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I don't know. In that situation, one, I would think I would want to vote out Zeke because seems a lot less trustworthy at that point. Ozzy seemed kind of loyal, but number two, although I think that was the other other alliance, because I keep on forgetting that there's two alliances essentially, and the other
Yeah.
alliance wanted to knock out an important figure of that other alliance, but what really kind of just did not sit well with me this episode. The way that they edited it, the way they built up everything, it just it just felt blah. I don't know what it was. It just did not. And the further away I get away from this episode, the more I'm just not satisfied with the merge episode. And usually it's the best episode of the season, 90% of the time. And it did not feel like that. And a lot of unanswered questions. You know,
Yeah.
it's just it was bizarre. Um, but like I don't know, like yeah, I just I wish I got more context with the first vote. Um, I wish I understood where the like where people were just like, oh yeah, let's vote out Ozzy, because that kind of just was sprung on us, you know.
Uh,
I don't know. There's just some things that I wish were more built upon, especially since they had 2 hours to fill. I,
right.
I don't know.
It
Am
was
I?
weird.
Do I? Yeah. I was gonna say. Do I sound like I'm just going in a loop because I don't know if I don't know if I'm right about this,
Let's
but
let's move on, shall we?
yeah, yeah. Um, but let's go ahead, and if you'd like, Go Cubs, I'll give you the floor. Do you have an idea of who you like to pick for your
All right.
eventual winner?
Here- Here's the thing.
Okay.
I have a lot of people that I really like,
Yeah.
but I don't think that they would have what necessarily what it would take to win.
Uh,
And there are a lot of people that I don't like, but that I think might actually be able to make it to the end.
uh-huh.
So I'm trying to kind of uh kind of balance myself out
Put the
to
fan cap away and put the analysis
well,
cap on,
well
I
that
guess.
that and just that and just do someone who I think can go pretty far that I also like.
Okay.
Because I don't know. Because here's the thing. I really like in the terms of contestants that I really like this season. There's Zeke, but you have him.
Yeah.
Uh, Aubrey, Brad, and Ty.
Okay.
Those are the ones that I really like for sure. But I'm not sure which one of them would be able to go pretty far.
Right.
Uh, I think that Andrea, Sierra, and Sarah, and even Suri and Michaela all have a chance to go farther. But I'm very indifferent about them, and Troyzan's gonna get carried or get cut, whatever.
Oh, he has an idol. Who knows if he'll play
I
it?
don't. Yeah, I don't think Troyzan's gonna do much.
Yeah.
Uh, I think if he plays his alliances right, and doesn't come out as a huge challenge winner, I didn't expect myself to be saying this at all, but I'm gonna go with Brad.
Brad Culpepper for your champion. I think it's a good choice.
I
I mean,
he's
he.
he's changed a lot since the first time he played, and he's actually I think a good alliance member,
Mm-hmm.
and will at least vote loyally with his alliance members, and when push comes to shove, he can win challenges.
Right.
Not these two endurance challenges that just happened, but
No.
maybe if it's something a little more physical.
Yeah. I think when it comes, what should be music to Brad's ears is when people were describing earlier in the episode about wanting to get him or Sierra out, they were describing Sierra as being the Godfather, the
Yeah,
top dog, and Brad was
yeah,
just
not Brad.
Brad was just the henchman, the hitman, the mafioso. Uh, so he should be happy that even though like the other alliance is targeting his alliance, it's not necessarily him right away. I mean, it might be, and they might have to be like, all right, let's maybe cut the legs off the beast or something like that. But I no, I think that's a smart choice. I think he's gonna go a lot farther than people may think. I could see,
Yeah.
I could see him making it down the line. So yeah, good. I say good choice for that. Uh, who do you think is going to win immunity next week?
Let's say that Ty's gonna win it back to back.
Ty's gonna win back to back. Okay, all right. It's interesting that we just had this discussion about him, but I'm gonna go Troyzan for
Okay.
the shocker of the immunity
I mean, I'm
challenge.
not saying that he can't win challenges. I'm just saying that I don't think he has strategic stuff in place to.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
he's gonna play an idol to save himself, and that's gonna be it.
yeah. It's really the extent to his Survivor
Yeah.
play. Um, and who do you think is gonna be the lone wolf?
And get voted out.
Yep.
I think that it's Michaela's time.
Oh, Michaela. She's going to be voted out. I'll say it's Sierra. I'll say
Okay.
Sierra. The other alliance gets their way, votes her out. Zeke. I could see Zeke maybe next episode. You know, they foreshadowed a fight maybe between him and Andrea. I don't know if he and I forget. He also in the previews was talking to someone about getting out another threat. I forget who. I would like to go back and watch that, but I'm gonna say that he's gonna end up apologizing and somehow rekindling
Hmm.
some kind of relationship with Andrea and Suri,
Yeah.
um, and that he'll be back on their side and he will vote with them against Sierra, and that's how she will be voted out. So, yeah, that's my logic at least. All right. Any final thoughts, concerns, advertisements, whatever you'd like to say, Go Cubs?
Chris, what's your biggest fear?
My biggest fear, loneliness.
Damn, that's deep.
That
Mine is the Kool-Aid man, but I feel kind of stupid about it now.
I'm not laughing at the fear. I'm just laughing at how much different the fears are. That was that was two completely different levels. Um, do you want to talk about your fear of the Kool Aid Man?
No,
Okay, all right.
can't make Kool-Aid. We don't have any sugar.
Okay. All right, I'll give you your space. All right, guys. We'll let Go Cubs just take his time. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoy. Be good to one another. Be kind to one another. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.
Cool.